Yo, what's up? Welcome to the opening line. Corey and Benny coming at you on a Friday, the final countdown, the final push to week number 4. What's the deal with you, Benny?
And not too much. As you know, I am going to be going on my first vacation since we started this company at the end of today. So pretty excited about that. Got a couple things I got to tie up, some loose ends, some lineups to put in, some bets to put in, some survivor pick pools to make sure I have done before I leave. And then sometime tonight I'll be on a plane flying over to Europe. So it'll be good.
That'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about Survivor this week? Interesting card.
I went with the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
It was a team I had available, and I have a lot of faith in them. They're also one of my biggest bets this week, and the team that I have on just about every one of my teasers at home teased it down to 6.5-point favorites. I teased it down to 0.5. So I really just need to win this week.
I was watching a video about that specific, those pleasers. Son, they're hitting that theory hits it like 80%.
The teasing down from 7?
Bring the teasing down from 7 to the pick.
Yeah.
Hits at about 70%.
Yeah.
And home underdogs also. Teasing home underdogs up normally hits too.
Yeah. So basically I don't know if we were watching the same thing. I mean, this was something that I've done for a while, but basically I saw somebody doing the numbers from last year about it.
It's the cat I used to work with. He works for NBC Sports. He was doing it.
Yeah, this was I want to say it was something I heard on VSiN.
Okay.
But basically the most profitable bet last year for you to make was a teaser with a home team when you were bringing them down from 7 to 9 all the way down to – it had to go below 3. So it was from 8.5 and below. So if you could get a home favorite at 8.5 and below and tease them down to below 3, it was the bet that hit most often last year. And it's been hitting most of the time this year. The only time I lost it was the Houston Texans one, and it took a last-second touchdown, at the end of the game for that to actually wind up.
And did that bet push or did that bet lose at 1.5?
I lost because I think it was 1. Yeah, it was 7.5. It was 7.5, and I got it down to 1.5. So I actually lost that with the 1. That was and again, the only loss so far this season for this strategy has been by 0.5 point on a last-second touchdown. So the most profitable thing you can do, and something I look for every week, if you can find a favorite at 6.5 to 8.5, that's home, that you can drop down to under 3, it's the thing that works out the most often.
Interesting, because you would think that how many teams do you put in it?
Well, I always do 2-teamers.
So you're not trying to get it to plus 300 or anything like that?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't found more than – I think the most we had in 1 week that fell into that criteria was like 3 teams.
Okay.
And I think I just went all 3 of them like, A and B, A and C, B and C. So I had combinations of all 3 of them together. But for the most part, you get 1 or 2 a week. If it's 2, it's easy. You just take both of them, drop the numbers down, make that your teaser. If there's only 1, then you got to kind of put it – like this week, the only one that I really liked was the Colts.
Yeah.
And then you got to kind of look at some of the other games that you want to tease up or tease down that, are just games that you have – like for me, I teased Minnesota up to 8. Because I don't think – or 8.5 because I don't think – first off, I don't think Minnesota – I think Minnesota can actually beat the Bears. But I don't think the Bears can beat anybody by 8.5 other than the Washington Redskins.
We've already been through that.
Yeah. But, I think Minnesota – I have a little more faith in Minnesota keeping that game close than I did in Washington Redskins.
Yeah. I just don't like – well, we'll talk about it in a couple seconds. Let's start with last night. The Eagles, they come through. So that Eagle plus 4.5 and that Memphis money line, that ended up hitting last night. But you could have money lined the Eagles and laid the number with Memphis, and that would have hit too. I'm just getting sick and tired, Benny, of these Jordan Howard touchdowns.
Well, I mean, this is the problem, that we talked about at the beginning of the season with Miles Sanders is it's not his backfield. There are guys that see 70% of the snaps. None of these guys are going to be the guy that sees 70% of the snaps. You're going to have Sanders plays. You're going to have Jordan Howard plays. You're even going to have Darren Sproles coming in on third downs, which we saw yesterday. It sucks because it's not really what you want for fantasy. You know, for fantasy, we want the guy who is the bell cow. We want the guy who's getting 3 down work. We want the guy that's going to see, 70, 80, 90% of the snaps and 70, 80% of the touches. I don't think, unless there's an injury, I don't think we're ever going to get that in Philly this year.
Yeah, no, that makes it a little bit more difficult right there. I'm still holding on because he's running well and he's looking good. And Jordan Howard has never been much of nothing, but right now this year he's turned into the mush, and he is screwing up touchdowns. Yep. A decent game from Sanders would have been nice to get some receptions to go along with that, but 72 yards. I wish we'd have got those points for that kickoff return, but that wasn't the case. As far as the Eagles go, ho-hum. They beat the Packers. Philadelphia looks bad at times, and they look good at times inside the same game, Ben.
Yeah, again, this is.
But they had them all time. I was shocked.
Well, even look at the first game of the year when they played Washington, right? I mean, they played one of the worst first halves of football we've ever seen. We were all like, oh, my God, Washington's going to beat the Eagles. And then they came out in the third quarter and looked like world champions and just, completely stepped on Washington's throat and kind of just put that game away. The Eagles are talented. The Eagles had been hurt. The Eagles were pretty much healthy yesterday with the exception of Deshaun Jackson. And I think that's the thing that people need to realize is like they played a couple games where they were missing all their weapons. I don't care how good your offense is. If you take the best weapons off of any offense, the offense is going to struggle. You're working new guys in, the quarterback and those wide receivers aren't on the same page. And, there are some problems there. So when you had Alshon back last night, you had Dallas Goedert back last night, both of those guys got into the end zone. Both of them made a couple catches. They opened some things up. The Eagles have a lot of talent. They're a good team, and I think they're going to be better going forward as more of these guys start getting back and they start getting healthy and they start getting everybody, kind of in line and playing. I'm not shocked that they beat Green Bay yesterday. But again, I still think Green Bay is a pretty good team. Green Bay's defense yesterday is really what let them down. That was the thing that I was most shocked with because I thought this defense was pretty good. They kind of got exposed a little bit last night.
I think Philadelphia is probably just a little bit too powerful for them offensively. Green Bay's been beaten up on some bottom feeders, so I wasn't ready to jump all the way in on the pack yet. Devontae Adams with a monster game. The Eagles' secondary stinks. That is true. Valdez-Scantling really didn't get much for you. Geronimo.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Graham, all the touchdown scorers for the Philadelphia Eagles to go along with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Geronimo Allison thing, it was nice. It was great, and I'm actually happy about it because this was a week where I had a lot of wide receivers that are on bye because I have a bunch of guys in the Jets, and I have our boy Deebo Samuels on the 49ers. And I was looking, and I was down to like 3 or 4 wide receivers on some of these teams, and some of them only 3 because of an injury here or there, Tyreek Hill and a couple other guys I had. So I needed that from Geronimo Allison last night. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, unless – Devontae Adams' foot injury that he suffered at the end of the game turns out to be something serious, I still think Geronimo Allison is a secondary piece of this team at best. They're just not giving him enough snaps. He's not getting enough targets. I mean, he went 3 for 3 for 52 yards. 2 of those catches and 40-something of those yards were all on that one drive where he got in the end zone. So, I mean, really, like, there's not much you can look for there. Jimmy Graham touchdowns pissed me off. They pissed me off almost as much as Jason Witten touchdowns do because the guy just like, especially as like a fantasy guy, right? Because 2 catches for 25 yards and a touchdown is like, all right, he's a viable fantasy candidate at the tight end position, but man, this is not the kind of guy I want to play. Like, I want a guy who's going to get 7 or 8 targets where even if he doesn't get in the end zone, he still has a chance to give me PPR value. And if he does get in the end zone, he has a chance to give me 15, 20 fantasy points. Like, to me, there's just no upside on Jimmy Graham.
Nothing.
Like, Jimmy Graham's upside is 12 points. It's a touchdown, 3 catches, and 30 yards. And, like, I don't want to put that in my lineup, you know?
Don't blame me. I haven't drafted Jimmy Graham in years. And every time something good happens, I look at it more as an accident than a thing.
True.
Last night, FanDuel had a prop, Benny, at plus 850, and I loved it. I didn't bet it, though. Carson Wentz to throw 3 touchdown passes and the Eagles to win.
Yeah. I mean, plus 850 is pretty nice there. That's not bad.
Yeah, I missed the boat on that one. I'm looking at the odds boost this week, right? Daniel Jones to have 2 touchdown passes and 350-plus yards passing. They give him that at plus 500.
The two
350
touch.
lot, son.
I know. To me, the 2 touchdown pass is a lock. If it said 350 of total yards, I might be a little bit more in that. Like that's the thing is that he's gonna tuck it and run a little bit too, you know. So asking him to throw for 350, that's a lot of yards.
Daniel Jones to score a rushing touchdown is plus 570.
I like that. I like that.
I think DC wins the game though. Carolina and Houston, Benny. Houston laying the 4 at home.
Yeah, I don't get this. It was higher earlier in the week, if I'm not mistaken. I think this game was 4.5 or 5 earlier in the week.
It was held around there.
Yeah, I love Houston here.
Me too.
I absolutely love Houston here. Like to me, I don't even think this is going to be close. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I will take Houston at home. I will lay the 4 points. That's fine by me. I would have been willing to lay 6 and still probably taking them. So that's fine by me.
The Browns and the Ravens, that number moved off that 7. Cleveland is now at catching 6.5. The Ravens at home laying less than a touchdown, Benny.
Little nervous about this game. And I was talking about this last night with Russell Clay on the live stream, you know, because you dissed me to go pick up your daughter. But I understand. I would have done the same shit if it was me in that situation. But after game 1, we all of a sudden anointed Lamar Jackson as a great throwing quarterback.
Yeah.
Game 2, he didn't really throw the ball that well. He went back to doing it with his legs. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, you know, the performance he put up in game 1. Week 3, he looked like crap throwing the football.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lamar Jackson an above-average quarterback if he didn't have his legs? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I'm still using him for fantasy. I still like him. But we kind of anointed him as, like, this guy who is now – you know, like, Michael Vick to me is the epitome of a guy who's got insane athleticism and also could throw the ball. Young Michael Vick, not Eagles Michael Vick. I'm talking Atlanta Michael Vick before all the craziness. I don't know if Lamar Jackson can beat a team staying in the pocket and having to throw the ball. That's not the Miami Dolphins.
I think he can. I think the fear of him running is going to drive that extra defender into the box, and I think he'll tear you up then. And if you drop him out there and he gets confused, he'll take off. So I see what you're saying, but I still think he's going to be productive, put it like that, as far as for what we do fantasy-wise.
I mean, again, I love him in fantasy because he's going to give you that big floor with his legs one way or another.
But can he sit back and sling it and beat the Browns?
Which is what I'm saying is I think that's what he's going to need to do. And if this was -3, I'd be all over the Ravens. 7's a lot of points. If you're expecting it to be a run-heavy game, which is what it looked like for them last week, asking them to win by 7 is kind of a lot of points. So I like the Ravens to win the game. I don't know if I want to take the 7. And I think a lot of people were in that same mindset. You don't drop it to 6.5 unless you had a lot of money coming in on Cleveland. And the fact that it dropped down to 6.5 means the money was probably coming in on Cleveland for the same reasons why I'm saying.
Ultimately, this is a no bet for me, but I think this is a spot where Cleveland can get a backdoor cover. But I do like the Ravens to win the game. The Chiefs on the road laying 6.5 versus the Lions. I look at the Lions and their record. They got the tie. They got the 2 wins, impressive victories, albeit both of those against the Chargers and the Eagles, even though we don't know what the Chargers is. The Chargers should be 0-3 right now. I just don't think they can hang with Kansas City. I would lay the 6.5.
Is it 6.5? It went back up. It was 6 yesterday.
It went back up, yep.
Again, I don't like taking road teams, but the Chiefs are that much better in my opinion. I can see the Chiefs putting up 30 points here. I don't know if the Eagles can put up – I don't know if the Lions can put up 30 to kind of stay with them.
No.
So I would be of the same mindset. If I had to bet this, I'd take Kansas City, but I am a little nervous about it.
Chargers and Dolphins, Benny, it's at number settles in at 15. That's a no bet for me. If I had to, knock on wood, pistol to my head, I would take the Dolphins.
If I had to, I would take the Chargers, but I'm of the same mindset. I don't want to bet on this game.
Yeah, I'm not honest. The Dolphins are nasty. The Pats and the Bills, another interesting division matchup this week. Pats laying 7 on the road. We haven't seen the Pats early season letdown game yet that we normally see. The Bills have looked tough, but it's the New England Patriots.
Yeah, it's the Patriots for me. This is another one of the teams I put in a lot of teasers.
No doubt.
Tease this down to -1. Tease this down to -1. All you really need is the Patriots to win, and I kind of feel like the Patriots are going to win this game, so I don't think there's too much risk in that.
I saw where some sports book had a odds on will a dildo get onto the field?
Is there a backstory to this that I don't know of? I don't know. Is flying dildos something that happens in Buffalo? I don't know.
So when the New England Patriots come to town, some odd way or another, but Bills fans always find a way to sneak a dildo or a bildo into the stadium. And when the Patriots are down on the side of the end zone,
right,
somebody will fling it towards Tom Brady.
I love Buffalo fans, man. Bills Mafia. Shout out Bills Mafia, bro. I mean, I know I'm a Jets fan and we don't get along all the time, but the mutual hatred for the Patriots that we all have is it's a bonding factor. The Bills Mafia is crazy. That's awesome. I did not know that, to be honest with you, but I would say if it's something that has happened as this many times before, someone's getting a dildo in there today. Or Sunday, I should say.
Yes, it's minus 240, Benny.
Wow, so they're basically like, yeah, this shit's gonna happen. Okay.
The Oakland Raiders and Indianapolis Colts we discussed already. Both of us on the Colts. Obviously Tennessee goes to Atlanta. I love the Titans in this spot, Benny. I would even sprinkle the money line. And I'm looking at this money line at plus 166, and I'm like, they feel like they can win, that the Titans can win this game too. Atlanta disarray if they lose this game, though.
Yeah, there is a couple money lines that I don't mind. That's one of them this week. Couple teams at like plus 150 to plus 180 that we can parlay together too.
Yeah,
like you take a plus one, you take like a Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguar parlay together. That pays over 3-1 with those two teams, and I think both have a chance to win.
That's not a bad one right there. It would have been a nice one for that free bet. Still working on that. DC and New York. Benny. You gonna talk me out of it, or you gonna let me be foolish and do it again after being embarrassed on Monday?
We're on the wrong sides of this game. I'm on the Giants side. I know you're on the Washington Redskins side. Here's something that I could throw at you that might be a problem for you if you really need to be talked off this. Case Keenum was seen in a walking boot this week.
Yeah, on Wednesday he was in a walking boot. They do feel like he's going to play though.
I know. I'm just saying though.
Talk me off of this. You're right.
Listen. Cam Newton was in a walking boot and he played too. There's a difference between playing and playing to your highest level. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And I'm not saying you need to be at your highest level to beat the New York Giants, but you're not gonna go out there and have your best game if you can't move around out there. I mean, that's gonna be a problem if you can't plant and you can't throw, and that could be a problem for him. So I would actually feel better. I don't think they're definitely not going to go to Haskins right now. From everything I'm hearing, they said if Keenum,
Colt McCoy is ready.
Well, that's what they said. If Keenum doesn't play, there's a chance it could be Colt McCoy. So that would be something interesting to look at. Again, we're doing this at 9:00 in the morning on Friday. Later on today, you'll get the Friday practice reports out. You'll hear a little bit more about it. There's a couple other guys like Mark Andrews hasn't practiced this week. A couple other guys that we got to keep an eye on here too. But Keenum is one of the guys I have on my list right here with a question mark next to, just to go back and check and see what the news is and anything like that. So that may help you talk it up. The other thing I think that might help you, might help me talk you off of this. I know you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, but dude, did you watch the game last week with Danny Dimes?
Yeah, I saw Daniel Jones last week. He was okay. You know what I'm saying? For a first-year quarterback, he did okay in a situation in Tampa. But I think the jury's still out. But it'd be fun to get him at home this weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so here's the other way I'm going to talk you off of it then. Did you watch the game with Mitch Trubisky?
Yes.
Because that's the defense that Daniel Dimes, or Daniel Jones, as you like to call him, is going to be going up against this week. And maybe you aren't sold on Daniel Jones, and there's a lot of people that may not be after just one start, and I understand that. But I've seen Mitch Trubisky start about 20 games. And I think – yeah, exactly. And look what he just did to this defense. So that's what I'm saying. You want me to talk you off it, I can do it. I can give you some things to think about here, but ultimately it's up to you.
Seattle on the road in Arizona laying 5. Another tough division matchup. That 5 is that funny number that we discussed. I think I like Seattle to cover it.
Absolutely. Well, it's moved in their favor, which we talked about yesterday. It started at 4 and went up to 5. Listen, I mean, Arizona's fun to watch, and they're cool to take guys against for daily fantasy because of the number of plays they run and the fact that they can't stop anybody on defense. But this isn't really a good team. The defense is horrendous, and the offense is meh. So it's like I don't really feel like this is a team that's going to beat anybody decent. If they get any wins this year, it's going to be when they face some of these other bottom seller teams at some point.
I would look for I like them. I think they get a tune-up this week because the Seahawks have the Rams next week. So I know they want to be clicking going into that big NFC West showdown. Next game, Tampa and the Rams. No bet for me on this one, Benny. The Rams at home laying 9.
I like the Rams to win, but I'm not taking 9.5. Is it 9 or 9.5? It was 9.5 yesterday.
It's 9 now.
Okay. Either way, I'm still not taking 9 points. I wish it was 8.5 because I'd tease the hell out of that shit down below 3. But I think the Rams win.
I think you get it when you tease it to 7, you get it at -2. That's kind of the best you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Rams win this game. If you want to use them in like a survivor or something, I get it. But betting wise and with the 9 points, there's nothing I'm really interested in.
Jacksonville and Denver, Benny, both of us on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
What line do you have on them? What number do you see?
+3.
That's FanDuel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them at 3.5 earlier in the week on DraftKings. I love that. I loved it at 3.5 because Denver play. Both of them really want to play low-scoring games. I don't think either one of these teams puts up a lot of points. I honestly like the Jacksonville money line. What do they have the money line at there? I got it at 158.
I got FanDuel has it right now this morning at 156.
All right, so about the same right there. Like I said, this is to me, I think Jacksonville wins this game. So to me, that 156 or 158 is a very parlayable line. You put a 158 together with even one of these favorites that are like, -200 or something, you're getting close to a 3-to-1 payout on that. So that's why I like these teams that I think can win that are, like 3 points or less, really. Jacksonville being one of those teams this week. I'm going to have a couple parlays with Jacksonville money line and some of these other games that I like.
The Vikings and the Bears. The Vikings laying the Bears laying 2.5 at home. I don't understand it, but I like the Bears this week. You know what? I don't think Mitch, the defense of the Bears is the best in the NFL.
Yes.
Mitchell Trubisky is a buster, but Kirk Cousins on the road in a clutch spot, I've learned my lesson against that, Benny.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little worried about here too. Again, this is another team. If I bet this game, I would bet the money line on the Vikings.
Yeah.
Before I took any points or anything, because one of two things is going to happen here. See, the Bears, to me, the key to the Bears is them getting a lead. Because if the Bears get a lead, then that defense can just pin their ears back and go after the quarterback, and they're going to wind up winning. And then the offense doesn't have the pressure to do anything. All the offense really needs to do is pick up some first downs, and if you break one and get a touchdown or get us at the field goal range and, can add a couple points to it, go ahead. That'll be cool. The defense can handle it. Where Chicago's going to get in trouble is when Chicago falls behind early in games.
Mm-hmm.
When the game plan has to switch and they have to kind of abandon the run a little bit and go a lot more pass heavy, things are not going to work out for them. And also it takes away the strength of that defense getting after the quarterback, because if the other team is winning, they don't need to keep throwing either. They can just kind of, run the ball a little bit or go with some quick short passes and stuff like that. And that's really how you're going to beat that defense. So if Minnesota can run the ball a little bit, which I think they can because Dalvin Cook is that good, and whether or not they can, the one thing I can tell you, Corey, is they're going to try. They're going to give them a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, so if they could run the ball a little bit, I think that they could win this game. And if that's the case, I'd rather be on the money line for it.
I agree. The Cowboys and the Saints are in Sunday. Cowboys 2.5-point road favorite against the Saints in Teddy Bridgewater.
Now, I know you're on Dallas, and I don't agree. I don't disagree with you because I'm on Dallas too. I'm a little worried about this number, though.
I think it's a funny number. I would money line Dallas.
I
would even tease Dallas to 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. When I try to look at the games, and think of a line that I think it is, right? Before I look at the lines. And then this way I say, all right, am I on the right side or am I on the wrong side? So I figured that this game, because it's in New Orleans, would be around 3. But I figured that Dallas would be the one who they needed to kind of get people to swing to the other side. So I figured Dallas would be like 3.5. So when I saw it at 2.5, I'm like, why are people betting the Saints so much that they're when you get a minus 2.5, they're almost begging you to take the team that could win by a field goal. Like, that's the idea. When it's a 3.5, they're begging you to take the underdog. So here I'm like, well, I wanted to take Dallas. You made it 2.5. It's almost like you're begging me to take Dallas, which leads me to believe that a whole bunch of people were taking New Orleans, and I don't get it. So I like Dallas, but I'm very nervous about it. Like, this was going to be I was so confident in Dallas minus 2.5 that at the beginning of the week that was going to be my survivor pick. Now I don't know.
It's reverse steam. Basically, whoever's hitting the Saints is probably part of a syndicate or something like that, and they're probably manipulating and moving and playing with that number. You'll probably more than likely, as people start to get on tilt, you'll probably start to see a lot of money pouring on the Cowboys Sunday afternoon and shoot that number back up to 3.
That's and again, like I said, that's the thing that has me worried, because a couple books took it from 3 down to 2.5. So there's either somebody running around dropping a whole bunch of money on this, like a syndicate, like you said, or I have misread this, and I don't feel like I've misread this. So I still like Dallas minus 2.5. I feel like is a great number. If it moved up to 3, I'd still be fine. If I had to give 3.5, that's when I'd probably hop off.
Yeah, that's a different story right there. All right, so there you go. My main man Benny, Richie, Artie, Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. Do I have a big piece of chicken for today? No, I don't. Sorry.
I have one, okay? So like I said, I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going on vacation. This weekend my birthday is Monday. My wife's birthday is Sunday. And our 10th anniversary was last week, but I told her we couldn't leave until baseball season was over or my bosses would kill me. So big shout out, big piece of chicken to my wife. Happy anniversary, happy birthday. And we're going to have a good time in Europe for a week.
There you go. Make her the big piece of chicken, Benny. Don't have her make the big piece of chicken.
She doesn't cook. I do, man.
That's right. You do all that. All right, for my main man, Benny, is Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, the opening line. We are out.